we do the abbreviated opening prayers?
I think we do just page 20.
Oh, you mean of the prayer that you have
you
that we don't have yet, but we will have tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, but we can.
Lord, Allah, Bonson, Jibar, Jordan, Jisum, Jolan, Jansalan, Josum, Tempation, Jolan, Nimi, Munjo, Janandra, Dabin, Juba, Jesus, Amudu, Juba, Jubin, Malaysia, Jordan, Posum, David, Jomata, Jolati. Abinda Jetamam is always in Josum, Jida, Josum, Bala, Tabasum, Jislim, Bolo, Sarah, Drong, Indejan Jimbo, Dorojo, Zonji, Bartism, Jola, Janzolan, Josum, Temptation, Jola, Nimi, Jajin, Topin Juba, Jesus, or Modo George, you begin Mother George, Josum, Jola, Abe and Ajamam is always in Josum, Jida, the Jin, Josum, Bala, Tabasum, Belendo. Sarah Drawing, good day, Jimbo.
I prostrate to the Vajra masters, the glorious Buddhas of the three times. I take refuge with a non-dual mind in the three supreme ones, the ground of the teachings. I offer pure offerings for you to enjoy, both real and emanated through the mind. I confess all downfalls without exception that obstruct the river of accomplishments. I rejoiced in the unattached conduct of the Dharma of the purified spheres of the 10 directions. I give rise to the immaculate, perfected, enlightened mind of the purified 4 extremes. I offer my body through the 3 purities to the Sugatas and Bodhisattvas. Gathering all the virtue accumulated in my lifetimes, I dedicate it to supreme enlightenment.
Do we have this one?
That one. Can you, yes, and I think I gave my booklet to Kimbo, so could I have another one? And I have also an extra,
This is Virgin from those lineage prayer. Okay. Do you mute me? Oh.
I'll have it screen shared in just a moment.
Oh.
And the Spanish Sangha also has this one. Prayer to the precious Master Buddha.
Om Ahum Benzanguru Bimasede.
Everyone has this in their book.
Minjuru Chugun Gombo Pami, Nonju Zogo Papa Jimen, Juve Gunjo Biman June, Lazo and Exo Taji. Zoma Sanji Malu Jibe Yonjiwa Mani Re Sanji Rajan Razovan Bejo Taji Shinje Zoma Yunji Kahi Tobe Shin Yangsan Lame Nudun Jozo Majin Kando Yishin Sojala Soan Deso Taji Shinjilo Alasan Rinchen Dimba Wangyo Shin Turun Gonzo Kele Jungwen Tajen Lama Chuji Yabo Soan Deso Taji Shinjilo Sera Gunda Dhamma 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 Samyam Minga Zejo.
protector Amitabha of the unchanging Dharmakaya, noble Avalokiteshvara of the Sambhogakaya, supreme Nirmanakaya Padmasambhava, to you I pray. Please bless my mind stream. Mother that gives birth to the Buddhas of the three times, master of immortal life, holder of the secrets of the victorious ones, Mandarava, to you I pray. Please bless my mind stream. Gatherer of the meaning of all secret mantra teachings, grantor of unsurpassed innermost secret supreme city, soul mother Dakini, Yeshua Sogyo, to you I pray. Please bless my mind stream. Master of the three trainings and the seven precious things, source of the prosperity and happiness of all beings, glorious Guru Dharmathing.
I leaned over and requested that he turn his phone off. I said, would you mind turning it off?
Udam deities who grant the two types of accomplishments, and ocean of sworn protectors who dispel all obstacles, to you I pray. Please bless my mind stream. By praying with one-pointed longing devotion, may the fruitions of all these prayers come to be. Please care for me in all my lifetimes, so that I may never be separated from you, alive once for even an instant.
Wonderful. And, one thing the translation most of the time argue with others that this Jud in Tibetan often translated as mind stream. Is could somehow really stuck with mind stream. But when we talk about person in the Buddhist point of view, person is not just a mind. We have body, speech, and mind. So this Jude is not the only mind stream. It's a psychophysical, your entire system. So I don't know. I unknowingly that use system, but that's not a good thing. I think if you have better choice for represent yourself, that when blessing enters in you, that represent not only the mind stream but also physical. And
so sometimes I translate it as continuum of being, like. Because it is literally the Jew part of the continuum, right?
Tibetan is around you is what your quality, your not necessarily keep going. It could be keep going, but it's more who you are. Yeah. Yeah, here appears many times. That's, it's not not a big deal, but that's what I often argue with others.
What is the Tibetan word that they're using?
Jude. Jude is often used. Tantra translate as Jude.
So in you see it there. It's when it says Sowa Debso Da. He's pronouncing it with. You can hear the da at the end more than. Usually when we in the transliteration it just says Jude, but it has that da. So you, yeah.
There's
Jinji-lo. It's right after Jinji-lo.
few Jude.
Before it, so Dagyu, Jinji-lo, Gyu.
Okay. So the blessing enters into our system, and now we are enlightened, whatever being that has all kinds of good qualities, body speaking. And then what we are still in a second colophon, I think the first colophon, we went through Second California and also what Rinchen Punso wrote after the translation, transliteration or translation. I don't know.
After the
decoding.
after decoding from
Yeah.
the Dakini script.
Yeah.
So his sort of translation.
This is Ngur Rinpoche's own word. The Ngur Rinpoche Range Zong. Terminal. Rinchen Punso Terminal. You deva Hiyare.
So now this is the colophon to Guru Rinpoche's own speech. So we went through the colophon that was sort of Rinchen Punsok's colophon to his translation or decoded translation. But then this is the colophon to the original text, right, of Guru Rinpoche's speech. Page 35.
Ngur Rinpoche Range tene pull a paper cups of Chuja Chazon Detzen. Last of that. David cups paper is tape to Tambo Jagarki or the Ngur Rinpoche Chu Jangwachi. Jangwa Tinan Jang took you that with so long, Nyam so long, Chimete Yunzi. Jelly for a chamber good top ne. Then put Turaki big on and put the pebbles.
Durab GB. And so Guru Rinpoche traveled to Tibet or came to Tibet during the reign of King Trisong Detsen. But prior to that, he had been for a very long time also studying and practicing in India. And during his time practicing in India, he accomplished or actualized the meaning of all of the teachings, and he attained the deathless state of an awareness holder with longevity over lifespan. And so sort of still continuing with a rainbow body, in continuing to appear in the world, he ended up then coming to Tibet around the 8th century.
In the 9th century. In the 8th century.
At the end of the 8th century.
Can not so that Tomar Tsiki Zon to Song, Tanda Tsiki Hiva, Po to Nada Gomba, Zogoto. That po the Java the Jahini Punga Jobat Tomne, Po the Nada Gomba, Nada Jaro Chazon de Senki Gomba in his Hongi. Gomba here, I think, wish. And then Kongi, Gomba the Zober, the Yons Zober, Kongi dropped over this. Can reach to over this and or Zamian and your friend tribute. Zula Contini, Shen, Tene, that's side there's on. Chui there's on. Nam Gitella Sopa there come on Bay, Tendici, Tene, a Pechamon Polycure, Tendici, and the program about Chazon de Sengi. Sambatons. So what it is.
So the Gomba, the Jason Detson, the Gomba.
Here's a wish, I think.
Okay.
You can translate that.
So then from picking up where we left off before the break, so it was the third line or the fourth line from the top is where we begin now, and it says in Tibet, the leader has completely fulfilled his intention. So actually, as we had this discussion about the term Gongpa, which Kimbo Rinpoche was saying that intention is not the best word for that. So maybe we could say, in this case, actually wish. Now it is not the time for me to teach these secret extracts of the heart essence on earth. But so as it says in Tibet, this is then referring to when Guru Rinpoche came to Tibet and worked together, to fulfill with King Tuisong Detsen. And so it sounds like actually wish here is referring to the wish of or the intent of King Tuisong Detsen together, with their sort of joint intention or wish, and building the the main assembly hall or the temple of Samye. And then there was a great propagation of Dharma that occurred there at that time when they were all together. And then also all of these termas or treasures that were hidden in earth, water, and space that became earth termas, water termas, and space termas, and many different types of terma. Also many scriptures that were, did you say translated into Tibetan?
Yes.
Yeah, at that time. And so this great sort of intention or wish was fulfilled.
In English, if my English could be, the leader has completely fulfilled his intention. Who's the leader? King.
Well, yeah, Buddha. But I
should
think
be
what is
Tuisong Detsen, and what Guru Rinpoche is fulfilling
but
the Tuisong Detsen's wish.
wish.
So here seems Tuisong Detsen himself, who's doing what.
Well, I don't understand in the Tibetan where leader actually is.
Ngadak.
Oh, Ngadak. Okay, so Ngadak is Tuisong Detsen.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Is that in English?
That's then leader. So I don't know what's another way to say Ngadak.
Not only that, the sentence structure is who's fulfilling.
Oh, it's not clear. Is it clear that it is
This is Tibetan is sort of the active saying. Guru Rinpoche is fulfilling.
It sounds to me like
It sounds like the king has fulfilled intentions. It sounds almost like Guru Rinpoche saying, the king has fulfilled his intentions, so now is not the time for me to teach this.
No,
That's
he's fulfilling. Everything is the subject is Guru Rinpoche here.
Okay, so this is wrong then.
I think we need to change.
Is it the intentions of Guru Rinpoche or the intentions of Tuisong Detsen? Like Guru Rinpoche is fulfilling
Tuisong Detsen's wish, fulfilling Tuisong Detsen's wish by Guru Rinpoche.
by Guru Rinpoche.
and the wish is to have the teachings taught.
His wish is he wanted to build Samye, he wanted to build other stuff, and he wanted to promulgate Dharma. That's Tuisong Detsen's wish.
So I don't feel like it's necessarily clear at all one way or the other in the English.
Yeah, it could be either way.
Yeah,
It's agentive in the Tibetan.
So this agent should be Guru Rinpoche.
yeah. The agent is Guru Rinpoche. The intentions are the intentions of King Tuisong Detsen.
So this is almost saying directly from Guru Rinpoche what I did. Tata Nyingtek Nyingki Tika Sangju, I think you already translated that. Read already. Sating Ngai then between my.
So then now it is not the time for me to teach these secret extracts of the heart essence on earth.
가르치는 Guru Rinpoche Hyok Devi 값을 간다 좁찬다 닝택돼서 나는 chilo chiyak tende 깔와튼 덴베 강사 tende maybe 기사시는 거 레레 일에 맞도 조성대선 이신 소자 근데 맞도 결성 기용 때문에 기약 텐데요 말했어. 대신 메타바 인도에는 공개 there's a big incident that she starting night in between my so tanda niegi tembe tutsute live your mother, you need to Tanda Rambo Maris.
So then Guru Rinpoche is saying essentially here that now is not or at that time, it wasn't the time to really propagate these Dzogchen or Nyingtik teachings because it was really only a few close ones who had the fortune to receive the teachings then at that time, together with Guru Rinpoche, like Yeshe Tsogyal. And so for that reason, then he is stating that the time for them to be propagated will be later in the future. And so therefore he's concealing them as terma, saying that now is not the time for these teachings of mine to be propagated, like that it is not ready yet, that beings aren't ready yet. And so therefore he is stating that then these are Sala.
Something I think between mine.
Oh, okay. And so therefore he's stating that the termas or that these teachings will be concealed or hidden.
Project in Tibetan we have Nying Ki Tika, means Nying, which means heart essence. So this particular Dzogchen teaching, not all Dzogchen teachings are as secret as this particular teaching, but this special Nying teaching is not suitable for most of the people. And in the Bima Nyingtik tradition, the heart essence of the Bima Lamitra tradition, there's Bima Lamitra only taught Nyang Pingzi Sombo, who is the translator and the Trisontet, and these two. And later, it's buried under the beams of the Chai Lakang and so forth. So similar situation at that time. 8th century is not proper to teach such as teachings. And then Mao Nyingma do Tuji Sangwi Menga Kunja Kan Chal De Tulo Zang the Nyam Sumalongxing Tiguning La Yaga drop to Naya Tutu maybe to his 4 lines.
Okay. So then it goes on to say, in the future, when the activities of the 5 generations proliferate, the secret pith instructions will be babbled about by everyone. They will not practice these in any way that is not merely superficial. When the essence of the 9 vehicles becomes slandered, the emanation of my enlightened mind.
Okay. So these show the time what time we need to reveal that the Dharma revealers need to reveal these particular texts. What's happening? In the future, Maombala, Nimanga Jubi Tujite, Tene, Zangway Manga, it's another Yamlan Chia, the Mangateso, Kan Challenge, and the engine of Shedra, Tene, Akala, Jibamato, and Gomda, and Neva, Wobjon Cheva down, Kova down, Loba Zambe, Nyamsland, Maris. Nothing that's a Tibaku. Sitanda Nying Lusu Tiba Kushate Ningla Yagatos and Alam Jiningla Medeva Chocolate was a mother. Tende Rongi from Makawa Medeva Chocolate.
Nagawa, the
닝라야 가죠. 용나 태극이 단대 닝보다 호텔 종주방 텐데체나 텐데체베 값서 그다음에 때르다 ndangyan peveres.
So then it's saying that when it comes, the time that when these will be extracted is when the 5 generations are abounding, when the pith instructions, as it says here, will be babbled about by everyone, and that there will be much talk of them, but it will just be sort of lip service without much real meditation, just reading the scriptures, merely reading and studying the scriptures, but there won't be many who really sincerely put the teachings into practice. And that then, as it says, when the essence of the 9 vehicles becomes slandered, so that actually there are those who will have hostility toward the 9 vehicles, who will contaminate them, where they will become kind of contaminated or slandered, and then it is at that time that then these teachings will be extracted.
Who will reveal these teachings? Ngai took to Hasi, Simple Nikiwa Monju Dambi Chundeta, Chin Yang Song Dropping in Jera, Leden Ying for la, he took Chin for more lines.
So then it says the emanation of my enlightened mind, Lase Mutik Simple, will meet with these Dharma instructions after many successive lifetimes.
I took say, it's interesting, translate. The emanation of my enlightened mind. Really? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. That's. I was reading Tuxi, I think.
Yes.
It's
yes.
Tukdoli.
Yeah.
Okay. Last table. That's just Mudicin, Tisondations. Son, I think. Jiwa Mang Ju Song Tak Lasi Mudicin Boni Mar Jiwa Mambo Juni and Tambi Chun that on Check Race. Can't take this maternal race. A young son droop in jelly that I will done there me chimbotan, then been Jeratan, then be done some with droba. That don't take this. Young son dropping in there, Tenderson, Tenderson. Tell a tanny. And then Leden Ying for the jet objection, the Leden Kalvaden Ying for close disciple, La, and the mark, and the Dambande, Cobris, the jet of Ozona, Telemar Damnit, and a zombie on Yaman Chegris.
So then, as it says, after many successive lifetimes, he will meet with these Dharma instructions again. So after the divine son Mutiksepo had taken many births, or had emanated many times from that point on, after many lifetimes, then he will meet with these instructions. And after this, the key points of the innermost secret accomplishment entrusted with the seal are entrusted with the seal to be given to the heart children with a karmic connection to these teachings. le dang kalden
음.
ningi bu di plus mutik sepo kikola la kyurebe yang na binda di
제와니 제와 주베 뭐 주비 거든요. 무택 전본이 제와 주바이나. 나 데나 장어든 전본조도 무택 전보게 주바이마. 땡겨봐.
rela yene yanti gana inchikela the kalden dang bimba the pena loma pena rinchin punso sula nangkin yorawa pena loma mampo the katla kikorla la kyurebe yamna the la
그래서 이는 링도 이나 근데 제와니 제와 주비 주비고 그 다제와 망보지네 저 잡본조 배워라 는 콩콩라 코난데 콩게 로마 콩게 파르나사텐데 코난데도
okay, listen. So I was just clarifying who, because it sounded as though there was this mention of those, the one endowed with a karma and good fortune, like karmic kind of karmic fortune and kind of like the noble karma and good fortune as the heart sun. And so this is can be both referring to Gyalwang Rinchen Punsok, who was the emanation of Mutik Sepo, who appeared and revealed the Dharma, or also those close disciples who then later on, received the teachings. But Sangwa Chini Nyamne Cheyore, the Rinchen Punso, the Kola Sumyorewa.
무택 전본의 성배 무택 전본의 왜 다른 제품들하면 가르쳤는 현재 분석 때는 동화라. 저기 남주인한테는 때려서 동영들로 농벌했더니 상화치네. 냠난치가 막 par. 아메리카는 남성성은 거.
And so then when Rinchen Punsok extracted or revealed the Dharma, he practiced them for quite some time in secret before disseminating them to others. And that is also how it tends to happen with dharmas in general. It isn't like they are revealed and then immediately disseminated, but that there is a period of practicing them for sometimes for a long time in secret before disseminating them.
Jangchubling 님본된 지니에서 다 대답을 성의거니 냠난치 때는 된 성의거니 냠난치는 되네 예수 랑당현라 펜베 랑쟁이 터닝 드럽이 치드 님보 담도 담주 공부 영상 네 근데 땐탄 송남그레스 지니에서
So then, as it says that then, so to those with the karmic connection to these teachings, and then these instructions that I give are the essence of accomplishment for oneself and others. And so then through putting them into practice, then both the accomplishment of oneself and the accomplishment and both the benefit of oneself and the benefit of others will be accomplished.
초신념 딱지 많지나 빼마다고 치란 거 원래 술라 쓰는데
So then it says, if the resultant signs of practice do not manifest in accord with the tradition of these instructions, I, Padmasambhava, would be deceiving beings of future generations.
근데 신랍체 버전은 뱀베 속친지치 데 초신념 플론네 강사 남기 다치 마음비 주반진이 남기 초신도 남서만하네 랑네 초신 노르만한 랑네 나나 따당 세마 강양 디트로발 때는 마쇼나 네페마 다키 부르르보체 공게 엔치라딘로발 준라버스
So what is meant by this is it is kind of the commitment that, you know, if those who come into contact with these, because these Dzogchen teachings are endowed with such profound blessing, that if you know, one sincerely practices them or puts them into practice, if they do not receive the resultant signs, then he says, I, Padmasambhava, will be shown to have been lying or not, you know, having been deceptive. In other words, there's no way that in putting these into practice that one won't experience the resultant signs.
To some Jarve Tokyo tells them to Yam to some Jara Zogbe Sanji Namji John Tokyo long tell Yala Dogres.
And provoke the shame from the expanse of the enlightened minds of the victorious ones of the three times.
Tebe Latsing also Tambachi, to do Tambande on Tibete, Regizela Dambe Jersipo. Okay, this maybe up to that.
Therefore, you, Prince Lasse, with a sublime disposition, when you meet with these instructions, the kingdom of these teachings will be conferred upon the noble child.
Team Sanchi, that has it in answer. Tamban, has a Metazembochi, Burumbochi, Sharja, Tegar, has a Metazembozon, Summers. To do Damba that on Tribet says on Maumberg, Maumberg, and Churung, Damba that on Yang Tribet says on Tribet say, Regizela, Nambi Jersipo. Tachurunte Regi, Rectum Dembig, say, Rinjampo, Charist, Zela, and Dambig Jersitin, Povam, Toba,
And so here then he's saying to the divine son Mutik Sipo and the future Rinchen Punsok, the emanation is Rinchen Punsok, that in meeting with these instructions again and then putting them into practice, you, child of noble family, will enter the kingdom or kind of reach the kingdom of the victorious ones.
Dambi Jersey.
The
pit instruction.
Oh.
The kingdom of pit instruction.
The kingdom of pit instructions.
The Juksong Tungda for the Magum Sanjindro, content Tondro and Rembranjor. Then Dungrap Juksong part, he haven't happened on the TV. But Dungrap Juksong part, Magumba, or Sanjibi, attending that Denderchebergy, Yoritin drop with Timate, Counter Sutton, Deva Tomnayon, Tom and Toba.
So then he goes on to say that for 13 generations after this, that contact with these teachings will lead to Buddhahood without meditation, or and enlightenment without meditation, and that whoever comes into contact with these teachings will be liberated upon sight, so that in seeing them there is liberation. So it says, for 13 generations of descendants, Buddhahood without meditation will be accomplished. Whatever beings are connected to, see or hear about them will be guided. 통과 droge래 통도.
통통으로 안 된 분들. 가드 릭소 땡들 만들면 취지 준징하고 담바친소. 근데 this 고갈인도 갈시 릭소 세나람 주바트 세고서 된다 등락 육성 파트 테 고마고 봤는지 그랬습니다. 이나 대답을 등락이 내가 매바 디기 때문에 매바 만들 같은데 이나 내 취지 준징하라 담바트 진거에서 취지 준징하 주반진이 현다마.
So then it says, however, the auspicious interdependence of the family line is not in order. These instructions should be given to 5 Dharma lineage holders.
지난데 드니 주바터 등주 육성 동작안 등주당 로마니까가 가하래죠. 근데 등주가 나와 투야라 마찬가지로 드릭 내가 요구로 이나 텐데긴 내가 그릭 소게 텐데 만들나 현다게 준징알 현다게 준지 텐데라 파
So it is the case that sometimes the passing of transmission or lineage will occur through family line or within transmission within a family lineage. But then here it's saying that if those kind of auspicious connections or the auspicious interdependence for this is not there for that, then the instructions should be passed through Dharma lineage instead. But the Nga Yimba, the Nga
5 Dharma lineage holder Dharma.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Ronyam long la trupan tar shim chair, ronyor chagdong tungi court for rangi nyam long yak chit tang, trupan tar chimbigi chair to Tajigwari Nazo, Rinchempons of the Song Song, Chudrobal Pio Bang race. Tigi rangi your chagdong tungi court. For grace on top on your child on TV shit to Kurbota which child did Kurbota with in the park, maybe so grace.
And so then, as it says, in order to reach the final goals of accomplishment through practice, abandon the burdens of attachment, aversion, and the 5 poisons of one's homeland. So this is again echoing also what we found in the colophon from Rinchen Punsok about the importance of abandoning one's homeland or abandoning the ties of samsara, or whatever gives causes one to give rise to a mind of attachment and aversion.
Is it okay to have a question?
Yes.
Someone from earlier up in this page where it says In the future, when the activities of the 5 degenerations proliferate, they're asking you to explain what are the 5 degenerations, the activities of the 5 degenerations.
It's 책임마 책임 녀모가 그 되는 강사를 했지. 정말 재밌다. I don't remember exactly now.
But he's
The life and I think one is person comes up. Nyomo is the disturbing emotion and so forth. Would be one of them. Yeah, that's I can check easily on the dictionaries.
so we'll get back to them to the question.
Mhm.
어,
Well, one is view. Yes, yes. 지나갈, 지나갈.
He said time, degeneration of the time,
Time,
degeneration of lifespan, degeneration of afflictive emotions,
강사, person.
people, individuals.
There's a request for you to be closer to the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, now we have 5. I think that one.
Yes, so that's 5. So degeneration of lifespan, so degeneration of afflictive emotions, degeneration of the times, degeneration of time, degeneration of the individual and or individuals, and degeneration of the view.
How can be degeneration of disturbing emotion? That would be
Meaning that they've gotten worse.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
The situation is escalated.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
think, right?
We also found a link on Rick.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
Okay.
that was accurate.
Okay. That's good. See, everyone's at least all together we can achieve enlightenment very quickly. Yeah. Okay. We are not in that family lineage, but we are lineage holders. Yeah. Ronya no drapantare ronyo chakdon tunge kordo. Tak kanan ro grisena rosa sajat. Flomon jagar jana chomete zongwi dambe pungbo hami jong. Karta ronyo chakdon maybe sajat. Flomon jagar jana mumay는 rosa jane yosarta tende le son ne sonwi dambe goni nyamso wangwa ina.
So then it says without partiality, but actually again it's this term, if you remember from before, which means kind of like is referring to kind of wandering without direction, or kind of wandering wherever one ends up in retreat, as a retreat and going from place to place. So it says here in Bhutan, India, or China, or other such places, to train through these secret instructions to accomplish the rainbow body form without remainder. So wherever it is that one goes, continuing to practice, and by continuing to practice, the result will be to attain the rainbow body without remainder, without leaving anything behind.
Particular places.
In these particular places.
Shlomo, Java, Jana.
Bhutan, is Bhutan?
Yes.
Yeah, Bhutan, India, and China.
I think that's the border countries that.
The border countries.
Jewan kangen tongwa tang tu tang rek tang chenbi xiong chebji lamna sinam derwa kongdoji urjen kai pe mezang segde lasi jewan de tong te tang der chi shots 제완드니 제완드니암 제바테니 어떤 로노소소 류랑웨게 갑 메류랑마타 티 초단 제베 갑 테니드 티 강사 티기 통암 도밤 리밤 쳔바 탐지 아니 형적 조더 저기 컴포터베 알람나 신토그레스 시노 데와 콘토치 데와 콘토토 치그레스 단 강사 로노소소는 주텔레 데와 콘토토 단 데레 양잠들 데와 콘토토 치스
So then it says, whoever sees, hears, touches, or thinks about this, but actually the way he explained it was with these teachings, essentially, because it says,
yes.
yeah, so anyone who comes in contact with, in any of these ways, any connection that is made with these profound teachings of the Yangtze will be guided on the path to enlightenment, whatever their connection. So whoever it is, in whatever having, taken form in a physical body, if they come into connection with these, this Dharma in any way, whether it is through seeing, hearing, touching, or thinking about, whatever the connection is, will become a connection that leads them to awakening. And so therefore, whoever the individual, they should try to connect with these profound teachings of the Yangtze in whatever way possible. To do whatever they can to connect with them in whatever way possible.
That in English?
It says whatever their connection, they will attain, they will be guided on the path to enlightenment, whatever the connection is. But
here is this imperative form in Tibetan. It said,
you should.
You should make effort to
connect with them in any way.
Urjingai pime sangsing de rasi jiwan de tedong treber sho. Sangta urjin pime rang ngurum boche rang sangsek 담반더니 사실 지와 대당 정도 다 대값서 공부송의 값 단다 주랍 개변은 다시 밑에는
Can someone be unmuting? Thank you.
뭔가 하나 사실 지와 이제 본돌아서 트레버 쇼지 성불은 보지 못한다.
Sorry. So then it says, may these secret lotus instructions of mine, of me, or of I, who am the master Buddhayana, meet with the incarnation of the Prince Lhasa. So here then the Guru Rinpoche, having been together with, there during the 8th century when he came to Tibet, then the entrustment of these teachings is to the divine son, Mutik Sepo, that in his future lives, or when he is born in the future, that he will meet with these teachings again and become the holder, having had those teachings entrusted to him. So this then is the aspiration prayer here. Guru Rinpoche is making that aspiration.
남소 때토 성다 네 니초로 담바인 성예초로 때토스 네 마모사 지워 Tumi lembi ning chop tong la. Tumi lembi ning chop tong la pu. Tu la fa de nga den fu le. Zhu.
So it says then the instructions are entrusted. Mamo Ekajati Za Rahula and Kiebu Dorje Lekpa. If these are received by someone else at the wrong time, spill their blood upon the ground, or their blood will be spilled upon the ground, maybe?
Yes.
It's imperative.
Not just blood, the heart blood.
The heart blood will be spilt upon the ground. When the right time comes, give these to the fivefold children or child.
Mm-hmm. This is the first colophon, which is colophon, and that's why I thought maybe we read or we discuss first in the colophons. It's better because then we know the background, history, and the blessing and everything in there. So now we could go back to the beginning.
It's okay to take a question?
Yes.
On the same page, question is where it says these instructions should be given to the 5 Dharma lineage holders. What's the meaning of that phrase, 5 Dharma lineage holders?
Drong.
Either Rinpoche Ponto's time, he has 5 main students who hold these dharmas, or it's just Guru Rinpoche's saying that you cannot give more than 5 students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's sometimes the Chikju is 1-to-1, but there's sometimes more than 1, more than 2, more than 3. Maybe this is the
maximum number.
Yeah, maximum number of lineage holders. Once you get these teachings, then you are sort of inner lineage holders, the group.
I have one question.
Yes.
Mamo,
Uh-huh.
and so Mamo, and
Please
then
speak loudly.
Mamo, and then Ze, and then Kiebu. But so Ikajati is specified as a Mamo.
Yeah, that's
Why is it,
Eric's translate. He spelled out because in English maybe doesn't make much sense if you translate just Mamosa Jivu. But he translates the actual general names of the deities, these three Dzogchen protections.
Yeah, I guess what I'm asking is there are 8 Mamos.
No, this is clear because this is particular Dzogchen Yingtek teaching.
Okay.
And
yeah, that's
therefore it only refers to Mamo Ikajati.
Ikajati.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Tempala, this practice shows 21 seals.
Yes.
Would you be kind enough to talk about seals a little bit?
Yes, but it's spelled out, and we skipped that page, I guess.
What is that?
The Samaya Jaja, the Samaya is supposed to Sanskrit, that's the Samaya. You often use Samaya, vow or commitment. And then Jajas are translated as seal. And then Terja, which is is treasure.
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 Seal of the treasure.
Yeah, that's why it has seal of treasure. Beja means it's hidden, but once it is treasury, then it must be hidden somewhere. That's why it has sealed by the treasury. Then Sabja also is so profound that it's maybe sometimes naturally sealed. sometimes difficult to understand. Its meaning is beyond words and conceptual thoughts and even intellectual thoughts, or even comes to Toga, then it's called beyond here. It's beyond wisdom. It's more gnosis stuff. And Nyan is also very Ganyan.
Yeah, he didn't translate it. He said yin seal.
It's
Also the ear?
very sort of dangerous.
Like
Ganyan,
Nyingka?
means
Yinka?
if you do something wrong, there will be punishment.
Consequences.
It's very delicate.
Like, what do we? No.
Not
Like
sensitive.
we have a word for that.
Hazardous?
No, like high stakes, kind of, but a more sophisticated word. What is the word for like?
Oh yeah, the edicts, like king's edicts, all days you have to do it. If you violate this rule, then you are not doing well. We have that kind of word here. If you reveal this wrong time, your hot blood will spill. Yeah. Right time is always it's good.
But is that term a metaphor for something? Spilling the heart blood, is that a metaphor? I mean, it's not literal, right? To take someone's life.
Yeah, it's somewhere it's kind of blur. Dzogchen is. Do I have real heart? I don't know. It's maybe, but yeah, it means very dangerous. Either way, it's, yeah, I think people take very seriously.
But Ning Tang La Pu, is that Kutsik? Is that
Yeah.
So okay.
The mamo and
okay.
those you protectors should kill that person. Means.
Maybe like perilous?
Yeah, maybe that's a good word, perilous. Yeah.
High risk.
But Tibetans think the heart is the main organ that if once you take off or something, then you will die. That's kind of 100%. That's what they think. They often talk about when arrows appears through heart, then you will definitely die. But these days, maybe some technologies you can operation and can be.
Well, we say the same. We tend to say the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's just not delicate, but what do you say? This ninja?
Like perilous or like high risk kind of, but the seal of high stakes.
Okay.
The danger seal.
Oh yeah. And then Kuja, Songja, Tokja, Yoten, Jangchubling, these are the Kaya.
The four kayas, or oh no, the four.
Kusong To Yoten Chilling. That's so often we talk about the Buddha has lightened body, lightened speech, lightened mind, lightened activities, lightened qualities. These are just, there is seal of these Buddha's qualities. And again, there's the Zangvija, Kabija is just hidden. Zangvija is the secret seal. Kab, Bay and Kab is a little bit different. Bay is hidden, Kab is hiding, or is intransitive.
Covering over. I mean, literally, bay means like to hide, and
no, Bay is bury.
Oh, okay.
And Kab means hiding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Kab is more intransitive is more transitive verb.
Oh, okay.
Then Gajia.
I just wanted to share a comment from the translator that might help people. Eric really doesn't like footnotes. That's why he puts things in parentheses. They're not in the text. They're his clarifications, but he dislikes making footnotes. So that's
Okay.
why they're there.
Yeah. That's good. And Gajia, Gajia is almost like Ganyan, we often call the edicts. It has this kind of strong statements. So the guy is still here, same thing. That Gajia means there's wording that you cannot reveal. That's the thing. Then we have Tamchikja, that's Samaya Jia. And Gongba again, Gongba here is, I think, realization is better. So it's more realization. So, Miyo Vijja, Menpo Vijja, Song Vijja, Du Vijja. So these are the moving, changing seals, and Song Vijja is the seal of protection, and Du Vijja means it gathers everything. So to seal. Say Dzog Vijja, this is complete. That's why it's sealed. Hangmi Jija, there's no remain behind. So everything's included in here to make Jia. Sometimes Jias are, everything's here. So it's showing that that's why you cannot omit or you cannot add anything. This is the complete text. Jaran banyu jikita bande mahanguru ka shetawar saseta. So here another story. The Ngur Rinpoche's talk, and then here is Lhasa Mutu Temple is talking about. So Ngur Rinpoche sealed these texts by 21 seals. And then Mahanguru Shetawar Lhasa Rantong Yom Tong Chimil and Shindo Parkon Yuyal Tento Nonsun Pajijam Dormeteg Nonsati Molinjobertibam. Here, the Lhasa Temple, Lhasa Temple, and his young mother, they are, when they get this teaching, they cried by devotion, through devotion. And then one person, at that time, they used butter lamp or those, and the same Parkong Yuyar thing, where the Zamye, one story somewhere in the Zamye house, these Parjijamu who carry or raise up the butter lamp, and they wrote down in that at that time they wrote very quickly. Yeah.
In accord with the words of the Mahaguru, I, the Prince Lhasa, and my mother were moved to tears and went up above the glowing turquoise room on the second story of Samye. By the illumination from the lamp held by my holy, glorious Queen Mother, I quickly wrote this down.
Mm-hmm. Do we need to take a break, or usually what do you do? Usually take a break, or what do you do? Usually.
I think 7 and 9 we don't usually, right? The Baisang Tangi Umarawa, the Dumba Nibubabar. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very good story. And usually stories helps. generate devotion. That's why stories, narratives comes along with teachings. And now we can go through the text, root text. Be patient is not, we cannot jump here, there, but we just go through these and whatever we can understand, we take in, and if we don't understand, then we can discuss, and also maybe one day we will discuss, we will understand this text well, and then someone will practice very well, and then we can rely on that person. 성쇼마 부추되고 samaya. We already talked about this, and then 좀된데 발권도 선보라 창사로 컨디션은 런이냐는 두네 만트 예는 무슨 지 남다이시 런이까는 존중감이 이시 자체마 너 시예로 롱봉된 비체 상암님 그 취지를 받대 samaya 자자 samaya sorry.
So then the first line, we already spoke about that, as it says, these are from the Dharma category of the red copper scrolls, Samaya. I prostrate to the Bhagavan Samantabhadra. The nature of all the realities of samsara and nirvana is nirvana. True primordial Buddhahood is unconfused from the beginning. Completely pure primordial wisdom is primordially pure in nature. The great energy of primordial wisdom blazes as unceasing spontaneous presence to teach the innate enlightened mind of the primordial liberation of appearances and existence, the stages of instruction of the heart essence, Nyingtik, profound path will be explained. Samaya.
What page are we on, please?
Page 13. My apologies. Yeah.
Here in Dzogchen text, we often have open verses that talks about these three qualities of Kundu Sangpo. 좀된데 빠르건도 선보를 장달로서 맞아 족친기 주 망치가 단다 배차 망치를 군도 선보를 장달로서 뭐 되네 대만이 봐 도저히 장사서야 돼 뭐 단디 단디 값이 맞는데나 는 빠르건도 선보를 장달로서 아니면 로소를 군도 선보서야 돼 맞아 하는 도구 수지 군도 선보 그때 많이 바꾼도 성보세요. 통미 군도 성보세요. 성지 통마, 성지 승진 탐지지 통마, 성지 탐지지 통마, 성지 성모텔 군도 성보세요. 텔레 장사나, 근데 다용수 저거 출국 군도 성보를 장사가 있는데 롱크자와를 나 출국 성공도 라서봐. 근데 성지 탐지를 장사가 로르드, 근데 군도 성보를 장사가 기부게 되네. 성지 탐지를 장사하고도 지금 장로로.
So here, as it says, I prostrate to the Bhagavan Samantabhadra. So most of the Dzogchen texts begin with this. The vast majority, when the homage is paid, it is homage or prostration to Samantabhadra, although there are some where it is Vajradhara, but most of, in most Nyingma lineage texts, Dzogchen texts, it is usually Samantabhadra. And this Samantabhadra is not the same as Samantabhadra in the context of sutra, the sutra tradition. So this Samantabhadra is referring to the primordial Buddha Samantabhadra. So the Samantabhadra as the primordial Buddha that has been present, prior to the origination of any sentient being, prior to the origination of any of all the Buddhas. And so the primordial Buddha Samantabhadra encompasses all of the Buddhas of the 5 Buddha families. It encompasses all emanations of all enlightened beings, of all Buddhas. And so it's actually the same as saying, I prostrate to all of the Buddhas.
훈대 총은 랑인양은 대승도다 본도 상보 간다 좁친줄로 솔라 초탐제도 안도 건도 상보를 해요. 그래서 대인도 건도 상보게 맞아be 초제장 요만 대인도 코르베 초라양 건도 상보 잡도 냥은 대비 초라양 건도 상보 잡도죠. 되네 통라 초탐제 코르바다 냥은 대비 초탐제 네, 랑신지 네 건도 정보 잡아요. 저는 양양인데가. 자, 그래서
And so likewise Samantabhadra it pervades all phenomena, or is all of the essence of all phenomena is that of Samantabhadra. And so therefore there is no phenomena that is not kind of encompassed within Samantabhadra. And so therefore all of the phenomena of samsara, all of the phenomena of nirvana are both the nature of Samantabhadra. And so therefore all phenomena of samsara and nirvana, it is actually, or are actually the nature of Samantabhadra, therefore nirvana, the essence of nirvana.
도네 만트로 예닝 모상지좀 근데 다 통미 건도 상보티 근데 님나고 있다 건도 상보 스사마 도진 장전 다 강도 축과 도진 장전 건도 상보 뭐나 진짜 통미 상지티 도만이네 만트로 그래서 초 만용 왔다 단다 상지 심전이 있단다 님의 샤연도 방법 시세야지 요. 시 콘데니스 마드비 뭔데 는 거라도 냥면은 돼봤어. 이와 매 이나야 는 거라도 냥면은 돼봤니 다마다 다 진배 원게 근데 정보 도진장로 소비 는 랑기 리비 뭐 랑지도 또네 यार सांझे हमारे लोडुक समझे तमजे ते माथों में मार छोड़ियों ते इंदे तब इंदो संभव है ना तो दोर्जन चां इना सुइना दोनना दोमे सांझे थे दोने मांट्रो पर इंदे थांबो निने छोड़ मान्यों बा तांदे समझे तम सांझे मोंबो जिते ने शायद तो वाला सोबा जंबलेंडर चों थांबो 내가 좀 일어서 봤다는 성질이 좋던데 semjen이 열성이 좋던데 다 군도 상보라서 봐는 돈이 많더라 돈만이 그 semjen 처음 만나는데 그 성질 대형 이해는 무성질만 돈만 초 많이 봐 이말은 돈만이 그 성질 로마도 그 semjen게 윤이 제가 딴 낭만을 그래서
And so, as it says, the true primordial Buddhahood is unconfused from the beginning. So here, whether Samantabhadra, whether we're referring to Samantabhadra or we're referring to Vajradhara, we refer to them as, the primordial Buddha. So meaning that primordially, or from the beginning, or time without beginning, this is the essence that has never been confused, that has never experienced confusion, which is the ground the basis of both Buddhas and sentient beings. So it is primordially perfected prior to kind of any designation of samsara or nirvana. And so there is no separation, there is no designation within that primordial ground of samsara or nirvana or pure and impure. So that designation only comes along once there is grasping or due to the power of, under the power of grasping. And so therefore there is no sort of, though that distinction made of, one who realizes the essence of awareness and then confused sentient beings who do not recognize that essence, because this is the ground or the primordial Buddhahood, which transcends both of these. So whether Vajradhara or Samantabhadra, this is really referring to that original nature that has never seen delusion, or that has never, kind of prior to the split of confusion or the absence of confusion. So whereas the Buddha, for instance, like the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, who appeared and manifested the 12 deeds of a Buddha, and then in order to guide sentient beings or lead sentient beings to awakening, here the primordial Buddha, again, it's that basis which is primordial or prior to, that has never had become a sentient being, that essence, which is that primordial Buddhahood, that is actually the true essence of the mind streams of, or the continuums or the systems of all beings.
Here we, why we need to know these, and what does this help for our practice or so forth. I think it's very important that we need to know that what is the nature of our mind. This is not talking about distant ground, distant Samantabhadra or Vajradhara. This is just talking about our own mind nature. What we have sort of two things, but not really two things. And what our nature of our Rigpa is always awakening, always a Buddha, always it's never be deluded by samsaric thing or conceptual mind or any that things, conditional things. And of course, then we individual, I don't know you, but I can feel that I am in a samsara, and I can feel that is, I can feel there's dualistic things and everything. But then knowing these, we say the dualistic things are just somehow temporary. It's like a cloud, and
Like a cloud.
Like a cloud, and it's not the nature somehow, and we can, through this information, we can do things that disturbing emotions and our perceptions, and these can change because these are not our mind nature. But we also can think that due to the power of our mind nature, which is awakening Buddha, therefore it's very powerful for removing our conceptual thought. So that's why in Dzogchen beginning teachings often talks about our mind. As long as we are in a samsara, we are kind of have these two qualities. One quality is just temporary, and one quality is the permanent one. Buddha is permanent, and samsara things are impermanent. So these two are totally separate two things that doesn't relate at all. As long as we are in the samsara, it's to at least abide in our one single mind. And that's why samsara and nirvana are so close that somehow in the Mahamudra, and I think Primordial teaching, and now my teaching here is this message is the same. It's how to purify your mind. How easy it is. If you think that samsara is just temporary and just mistake, then it's easy to remove rather than it's solid, sort of it's permanent, and it's everything is solid, then we cannot really remove it. It's there. That's why it's very important to knowing this. And these descriptions are not describing something else. It's only describing our mind and my nature. So further descriptions, namda ishi rangi kane ta. So then in often use a primordial ground. Zokchen tomi shi senazo kunzong malam yo shi ji lam ni riwu ni rectamar chuntur do. And zokchen shi ji ma to me na yo lam ni cha smares lam ni de kan ri cha wares na kundu songbogi rang rutbe more shi ni rutbe more rang mo ni ma ha ko ni yar sanji simchen tamji rutbe mo de rang mo in ma shi ne when mar korbalan cham shi ji ma to me na lam ni cha smares then in the rectam marik be chuntur zamji re ma to tön lamone trobaji yomares.
Jine. So as it says in the prayer of Samantabhadra, there is a single ground, yet two paths and two fruitions. And this is based on awareness or unawareness. So there's a single ground, yet two paths. And so even though the essence is the same, when one doesn't realize, or when one does realize that intrinsic essence, or when one knows one's true essence, that then becomes Buddhahood, that is, becomes what we exalt as Buddhahood. When that same essence is not seen or not recognized, then it becomes confusion. And so therefore, one who doesn't realize their own true essence becomes a sentient being who wanders in samsara. And so that is why, it is a single ground, but two paths and two fruitions. But the ground itself, regardless of the presence or absence of delusion or confusion, never changes. It remains primordially pure.
Dzogchen bichuke tanda tumu mayin bichuke la gada seje de lundrup seje tukje seje tenre tangbos ti som ti tanda tongmi shi ti la rangxin ji ne de yores.
And so there are these terms that are often used in the context of Dzogchen, one being original purity, the other being spontaneous presence, and the third being like all-pervasive compassion, or I think there's another word that is used here, but they appear here also in the text. But these are qualities that are there kind of as the natural qualities of this primordial ground.
근데 내 좋게 신다던데 대요 나는 속견을 이些솜스 해 신내지 이些솜스写了内边一些솜
Jila nebe yeshisu.
이写了内边一些솜的我嘎达个一些让一很多的一些
Rangshin.
很多的一些 특히 군착이 이些숨보다 통미기 실랑신지 랑을 요래서데 간다 근데 텔라 때문에 내가 저기 줄래 시대와지 민용보서야 돼 뭐 이些숨지 당이 그래서
And so in this Dzogchen language, we talk about the ground being endowed with the three gnosis, or the three primordial knowings. So that is the essence being primordial purity or original purity, kadak. And
wisdom.
The wisdom of the original purity of the essence, the wisdom of like self kind of natural spontaneous presence, and the wisdom of all-pervasive compassion, which is somehow what is that sometimes translated as? Tubje Kunkyat. Okay. Anyway, all-pervasive compassion. Is that okay? Okay. And so from the beginning, or primordially, these wisdoms are there as natural qualities of the ground. So they are these natural qualities of our Buddha nature, of the Tathagata Garbha, the essence.
Yeah, therefore, the abiding three wisdom, due to that, we have these three abiding wisdoms, then, or gnosis. We, Dzogchen and Mahamudra often say Ringo Da, looking at your mind nature. That's why we need to look at our mind nature, because our nature of our mind is these abiding three realities, or three gnosis. Yeah?
Gnosis.
Mm-hmm. And Tongmar here, often the Gada is then also Mo Tongba Chuku, Rangisarva Longku, and Tubje Kunja Prukus and Kusom Banjarvika, and Yishisom Banjarvika, Dige, Zokchen Tambo Tongmegi, Tamba Shi Nilukte, and Tende Jarsomomondos.
There's also a way of describing the natural qualities of the ground as the empty essence being the Dharmakaya, the aspect of clarity, or the quality of luminosity or clarity, being the Sambhogakaya, and the all-pervasive compassion being the Nirmanakaya. So there are these sort of two ways to talk about these qualities of the primordial nature in the context of Dzogchen.
Luna Tandigi Chi Kartangorisana, Rangi, Ransoso Rangi, Shepamta, Rikwa Sengi, Movote, Sanji Kusomji Dani in Bata, Tangores.
And so one's own intrinsic awareness, or one's own awareness, is the self nature of the three kayas of Buddhahood, the three kayas of the Buddha. The Rikpasim,
Sim Rikpa.
Oh. Okay.
But here there's no spell out each one. That's clear, but you can see here. Number talk. That's the primordial purity. That is the kata in there. And then Shunru. That is, I think, Tubji Kunja talking about.
Okay. So it is a little bit more. It's not spelled out so clearly here, but it is alluding to it. Is what Kimbala is saying, where it says completely pure primordial wisdom is primordially pure in nature. So that's the kadak, the innate original purity. Then the great energy of primordial wisdom, referring to the spontaneous presence, or the Thundrup, right? And then
or maybe Shundrum Gangmi.
Or it does say the unceasing, or blazes as unceasing spontaneous presence. So that is this, the spontaneous presence.
I think the Shundrum Gangmi is, maybe we can take that as the Rangi Shundrum.
Oh, okay. So that unceasing spontaneous presence is that spontaneous presence.
Yeah. And the Yishitsar Chembaras, then
so
the activities coming out due to that, the Dharmakaya to Sambodhikaya to Nirmanakaya, that's how appearances appear, how activities merge, and how manifestations come. Yeah.
So that's the great energy of primordial wisdom blazes. So the blaze is the
like a
all-pervasive compassion.
Yeah. And here, then our mind nature, the Tomi Kundu Songbo. Am I talking in English or okay, doesn't
kind of both.
Okay. Our Kundu Songbo, okay. The primordial Buddha Kundu Songbo is our nature of our mind. That's clear. That's easy. That's why we have Buddha nature. Then after these three layers of Dharmakayas to Sambodhikaya to Nirmanakaya, when Tubji Kunchap, the all-pervasive compassion, pervade through samsara. So then here say non-si yeru gomba tembiche. So here's this teaching is this gomba is difficult, not difficult, not intention. That was almost like a meaning, I think, here.
I think he just said enlightened mind.
Wrong gong.
To teach
the actual meaning of the innate nature, maybe, of non-si yeru, samsara and nirvana are liberated, primordially liberated here.
The primordial liberation of appearance and existence.
Yes. Why these appearances exist include samsaric cancer, or are liberated at the very beginning. Which means not only the Buddha Kundu Sangpo and Vajradhara and our mind nature are liberated, but also everything's liberated. So that changes our attitude of how to look at samsara things. And we think samsara exists quite rigidly. We could not do anything, then it's we cannot do anything. What we can do? But somehow we need to think, when Buddha teaching the sutras, that all dharmas are like dream, mirage, and cloud, and everything. It's comes and goes and disappears and appears. These are not rigid things. These are not actual substances. So that's here I want to say both samsara and nirvana are liberated in the very beginning.
From the very beginning.
Yeah, from the very beginning. So then be curious. And it Nancy Tamki Yeni, Chors be Gombam, Chors be 20, and it Ember shall be cheer too. And then Dana Nguram Bochigi, Samlam Yingtik Chijirim Paten, so Sabi Lam, Tanda, Tamchu Gomba Yangza, Ti Nani, John Zoram Yishikunza, De, and Yingtik Chi. Non substitute chavera TTG Rimpam TGTG and the sort then Bengi Samaya.
And so then he's saying, for the purpose of, or in order to teach this meaning of, this primordial liberation of appearances, all appearance and existence. So these stages I shall explain or teach, these stages of instruction of the heart essence of the profound path. So these particularly referring to these the perfection of all gnosis of the completion stage, or all the primordial knowing of the completion stage in the stages, or step by step.
I think we maybe can stop here. I can answer a few questions, and then we will change to the dedications. Maybe stop here is good. It's okay.
Sure. Should we have, so do you want some questions, or we just close?
If there's
Are there questions?
It's fine.
Kempo, earlier you mentioned I think the connection between the different Nyingtik cycles, and I know that there's this connection between Khandro Nyingtik and Yangzab, and I was wondering if you could kind of talk a little bit about what that connection is.
Khandro Nyingtik, Khandro in Tibetan is Dakini, referring to Yishin Soja. Guru Rinpoche taught in the same place, Shoto bedroom, that the bedroom is in the place where Yishin Soja was retreat there. Then Guru Rinpoche taught these Nyingtik before we and when Guru Rinpoche taught to Yishin Soja, but we don't call Khandro Nyingtik.
At that time,
At that time, yeah.
The Khandro Nyingtik.
But Khandro Nyingtik comes when 14th century, Sachen Pema Sao, one of Teshon Densen's daughter, who also get teachings from Guru Rinpoche. Her reincarnation is called Pema Lander Tsar. The Pema Lander Tsar was before Longchenpa in the 14th century. And he brought these Khandro Nyingtik dharmas Everyone understand? I say Dharma, church.
Yes, I think so.
And Dharmas called Takbo area, Takla. And he brought out and he taught to Turkulikten, which is Longchenpa and the third Karma Parangju, which is teacher. That is 14th century. And once Longchenpa get teachings on Khandro Nyingtik from Pemalenders and others, he kind of codified or canonized Khandro Nyingtik there, and then he wrote commentary or summary or the important text called Khandro Yangtik. Yangtik is utmost or
Innermost or utmost.
Innermost essence of Khandro means still referring to Yishin Soja, because these lineages coming from Ngur Rinpoche to Yishin Soja to Pema Lendra to Longchenpa. What's related here is this both Khandro Nyingtik and this Yangsa Chukor are taught by Ngur Rinpoche. But one is taught by Yishin Soja, to Yishin Soja, and one's to the Muditendo of Chizonde's son. So that is different. And the messages are almost always, some are extended, but some are short form, but always have this, if it's Dzogchen, once you call Dzogchen Nyingtik or the heart essence of the Greek perfection, then always referring to have this Chukchu and Togar, particularly Togar practice. Togar is helps.
How to say it?
Yeah,
you mean?
Togar.
I mean, I usually hear it translated as the leap over, but
Okay. Yeah, we discussed this. This is we're talking about the vision practice that
The vision
always involves
practice,
vision
yeah.
practice. That that's why I think it's related. Both taught by Ngur Rinpoche and come down to Chizondes and sons or daughters, and then somehow later tertons or tertiary rulers are revealed texts.
thank you.
Mhm.
Someone's asked, what's the relationship between the aspiration of Samantabhadra to these teachings?
It's the same thing. Aspiration of Samantabhadra is, we are not talking about this sutra one.
No,
No,
right? Not
The
the
19th chapter of the Tantra.
Yeah, yes, that is also related because that is from Gompa Sangha. I don't know how they translate Gompa Sangha.
Look how Malcolm, I think, is the enlightened intent of the Buddhas, or the enlightened state.
Yeah, the 10 is
No, he doesn't like intent for,
the realization maybe.
yeah, the realization.
That is also Dharma cycle. It's called Changter, Rinzi Goden,
the northern
Northern Treasure.
the northern treasures.
And he was a little bit younger than Longchenpa, also in the 14th century. And he revealed this Gompa Sangha cycle, like Yangzab cycle. Inside the Gompa Sangha, there is a lot of texts that involve sort of Nyingtik. I'm not sure they're called Nyingtik. Sometimes they don't really necessarily title called Nyingtik, but it's always have this Sangwa sometimes.
Like the unsurpassed secret, Sangwa?
Yes, yeah,
Oh.
that is the highest cycle, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's two are equal. And there, this Gundasongbo superior that Ngacheng, which is favorite prayer, and we often chant that in Ngacheng, which is center, and now I think other Dharma centers. And there's a version of translation. First one is Bahaturkus, and then I retranslate one, and maybe now you say there's
Carl.
more.
Right, there's one in our booklet too.
Okay. Well, one day we can maybe we can recite together that one. That is very popular in Nyingma. And I think also in Drong Chuju has that too. So that's somehow that's Guru Rinpoche to another transcendence circle to Todd, and then went to Dharma, and then revealed by the Rinpoche Godin. So there, Rinpoche Godin, yeah, Rinpoche Godin is the name of the treasure. Yeah.
Who revealed that?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that text is very famous and also very nice. Nice, we can chant nicely, and also has very precise kind of. There's one ground yet, two path and two fruition. So,
But once it came to, because that was in 1500, right?
mhm.
And then once it was
Almost
transmitted,
1600. Yeah.
so once it was transmitted and practiced, and then it came to like the Drikung lineage, and that's how we get to receive this precious teachings, or how come like it was 5 and now we can receive it? Like, how did it open up?
5, you mean?
Because you say that before it was just maximum maybe 5
Oh.
have a teaching.
Oh, okay.
So how is it that it's able now to be practiced by more people?
Yeah,
Like, how do you get the
that's
permission? Is the question.
yeah. Yeah,
Are we so lucky?
Yeah, because we are lucky. No, I don't know. That's a good question, but since Guru Rinpoche's other prophecies that 등한인 mentality, which is 구성 talk them but more than bars. 등한인 mentality, which
So like at the kind of the height of the degenerate times, or the times of the degeneration, the teachings will blaze like fire.
Yeah. So that and others think these teachings are become more popular. Yeah. One more? Okay. What's
Someone else?
no.
In this verse we just went over, with the line, the great energy of primordial wisdom blazes as an unceasing spontaneous presence. You briefly went over how the 3 kayas manifest as appearance and existence. Could you elaborate on that?
I think translation go backward, but
Right.
we need to go forward. Yes.
Oh, you mean I'm not sure what you mean.
If
by
we
that.
separate the pure essence is the essence is primordial pure.
Or kadak.
Ngur
Kadak.
Mhm.
So the empty essence is the
Primordial.
original purity,
Mhm.
which
Drong-
is in
Drong
here,
Hyundro, yeah.
primordial pure. Mhm.
Ranghi Hyundro, yeah.
And the nature of being spontaneous presence.
Which is Hyundro Dharmi, I think we can stop there. Unceasing.
So that's
spontaneous.
jumping to the unceasing spontaneous presence there.
That should be second.
That should be second. Okay.
Mhm.
And then the blazing, the great energy or Zao is sometimes is dynamism of gnosis is
So
or
that term is
pervasive.
Sao.
Yes, what is translated as energy is so.
Dynamism or dynamic energy.
So is that Sao like a quality of Rigpa?
Yes.
And so that is what he said was the all-pervasive compassion
Yeah.
to Jekumbya.
Usually the Dharmakaya and the Sambodhakaya doesn't have much activities, but comes to Nirmanakaya, then it's all the activities are coming from there. Mhm. Okay. What?
Was it, I think there was one more question. Did you have a question, Jason? Oh, no? Okay, sorry. So we'll do the dedication.
Tomorrow we can do it. Always have tomorrow.
Maybe, right? By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings and samsara and nirvana, and by the innate true virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drong Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Are there any announcements?
Damien, do you have any announcements?
Our practice tomorrow morning, our say will be leading the practice for the war in Ukraine.
This is
I think it's okay if I'm here, but I could use this as my. So tomorrow morning, we'll be doing green sadhana practice.
Green Tara.
Green Tara, excuse me, but I said green sadhana.
You said green Tara.
Yeah.
Green Tara sadhana practice.
Narrow it down a little bit.
Right, for the war that just began this morning in Ukraine, on behalf of the people that are there. And so if you all can join us, that would be really great. We have text, I think, and for everyone online, we also have put the Green Tara Sadhana text on our webpage under the practice resources.
And the Spanish Sangha has a.
And they have the Spanish Sangha also has it. And then we'll return also with Kempo Yeshe Rinpoche's teachings at 2:00 tomorrow. So thank you very much.
Gosh, this is just
Yeah, I
starting
think
to
it's time to get a new
deconstruct.
one. So we're breaking now. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I know it's been, I was sort of, I've been seeing them and I was like, what is that? And then now I know.
So I won't be able to make it tomorrow. I thought I could